คุณผู้ชมคุณผู้ฟังครับคนคนนี้ไม่เคยไปเรียนต่างประเทศมาก่อน
Never lived abroad, never studied abroad or at any international school. I'm the person who bridge the language barriers and I help people connect.
so let's play a little game ตัวตึง
Queen.
Kid
I'm literally dying.
the last one this is totally new for me too
Okay.
เอาให้ห้อง
She ate and left no crumb.
how do you translate jokes like on the spot
This is a joke. Please laugh.
people do that
Yes, there's like one time that person is so offensive. So I say he.
ooh that's a good technique
When you ask like, what does it take to be a good interpreter? I think it's curiosity.
because you're already the less knowledgeable person in that room
That's true.
Right.
I'm not a doctor, I'm not a surgeon, but
Yeah.
I'm translating
Yeah.
a surgeon. So my question is like, what's wrong with being a wannabe? I think we should be proud to say that I'm a wannabe and one day I will be what I wanna be.
This is Comedy Featuring. My name is Vic and welcome to the show. ทุกคนครับ
Everyone.
พวกเราอยู่ด้วยกัน
So
มาประมาณ
today
6 ปีแล้ว
we have been together for
ทุก
around
คนก็
6
น่าจะ
years.
รู้จักผม
Everyone might be familiar with me.
ผ่านเรื่องราวที่ผม
You know
แชร์
me
บ้าง
from the stories that I
ในบาง
share
ครั้ง
with you
นะครับ
sometimes.
แต่รู้ไหมครับว่า
But do you know what?
มีอยู่เรื่องหนึ่ง
There's one
ที่ผม
thing
ไม่เคยเล่าเลย
that I've never told
นั่นก็
anyone
คือ
before, and that is
ผมเคยไปทด
I
สอบงาน
have
ล่ามด้วย
been
นะครับ
tested to be an interpreter.
ประมาณ20 ปีแล้ว
I've auditioned for that.
ต
It's
อนนั้น
like
ผม
20 years
ได้รับ
ago.
จ็อบจากรุ่นพี่
At that time, I was
มหาลัย
assigned by
ที่รู้จักกัน
my friend in
แล้ว
college,
มันเป็นงานของ
person
เอเจน
that
ซี่
I
โฆษ
know
ณา
and is an
หน้าที่
advertising
ของผม
agency.
คือ
And
การ
my
ที่
job
จะ
at
ต้อง
that
ไป
time
นั่ง
was that I
สัง
had
เกต
to
การโฟกัส
be there
ของ
and have to
อีก
observe
กลุ่มหนึ่
the
งนะครับ
focus group,
แล้วเขาสิ่งที่
one
เขาจะ
focus
ทำก็
group.
คือ
And
จะมี
what they
คน
were
ของ
doing,
เอเจนซี่เป็น
a person
คน
from
นำ
an
การพูด
agency
คุ
would
ย
have
กั
to
น
lead the
เพื่อ
discussion
ทด
in
สอบ
order
แล้ว
to
ก็เพื่อ
test
ได้ความเห็
and
นมาว่า
to
สินค้าที่
get
เขา
some
ใช้กันเนี่ย
opinions on
เขา
the
รู้สึกยังไง
feedback
บ้าง
of the products,
หน้า
how
ที่
they
ของเรา
feel
คือ
or
อยู่อีก
something
ห้อง
like
หนึ่ง
that. So
แล้ว
my
ก็คอย
job
แปล
is to be in
ทุก
another
สิ่ง
room
ทุ
and
กอย่าง
translate everything,
ที่
like
เกิดขึ้น
literally
ในห้อง
everything
นั้น
that happened in that room
ทันที
simultaneously.
เก็บทุกอย่าง
I have to translate everything.
แล้วไม่ว่าใครจะ
And
พูด
no matter
ขึ้นมา
anyone say
พร้อมกัน
something, like
ทะเลาะ
something
กัน
comes up, if they
หรื
fight,
บาง
if they
คน
argue,
พู
or
ด
sometimes
แล้ว
just
ไม่
like
เข้าใจ
say
ตัวเอง
something
ว่า
and
พูด
they
อะไร
like get
ผมก็ต้อง
confused
แปล
about themselves. I have to translate
ไม่ต้อง
that.
สงสัยเลยใช่ไหมครับว่าผมได้งานหรือเปล่า
Right, no doubt. If I get the job,
มันยากมากครับ
it was so hard.
แต่นั่นก็เป็นครั้งแรก
But
ที่
it
ผ
was
ม
the first time
รู้
that
ว่า
I
ในโลกนี้
know that
มันมีงานแบบนี้
this
ด้วย
job exists in this world.
แล้วผมก็รู้สึก
And
ข้อง
I
ใจ
feel
มาก
like,
โม
oh
โห
my
ตัวเอง
gosh,
มากว่า
I was so mad about
ทำไม
myself.
ผมทำไม่ได้
Why didn't
เพราะอะไร
I
รู้ไหม
do
ครับ
it? Why
เพราะ
couldn't I
ว่า
do that?
ถ้าผม
Why?
ทำงานนี้ได้
Because if I could do that
ผม
job,
จะรวยมากครับ
I would be super
เงิน
rich.
มันจะดีมากครับ
I will
ผม
get
ไม่ต้องทำอะไร
money,
เลย
you guys.
นอกเหนื
I
อ
don't
จาก
have to
การ
do
เก็บตัง
anything
ค์แล้วก็
but
รอ
to
เที่ยวอย่างเดียว
just collect all my money, save up my money, and travel around.
นี่คือ
Who
สิ่งที่ผม
could
คิด
do
ว่า
that? And I have
ใคร
that
จะ
in
ไป
mind.
ทำได้
That
วะ
question. Who would be able
แต่
to
วัน
do
นี้
that? But
คนที่
today,
ทำได้
the person who could do
นั่งอยู่
that
กับผมแล้วครับ
is sitting with me now.
เธอชื่อฟ้าครับ
And her name is
เธอ
Fa.
เป็นคนที่น่ารักมาก
She's a lovely
เก่งมาก
person. She's so
คุณฟ้า
talented.
สวยมาก
And she's so
นางงาม
pretty.
จักรวาลทำอะไรเธอไม่ได้
Oh my gosh.
เทพที่สุด
I don't want to translate that. Okay.
I'm just messing with you
All right.
Thank you so much for coming คุณฟ้าสวัสดีครับ
Thank you. สวัสดีค่ะ.
สวัสดีครับ
Hi.
So that's going to be one of my questions that
Right.
even though you don't agree with what people are saying, do you still have to translate?
Well, I would have to say yes. But I was like too shy and flattered when you said so.
How do you like my story? It was a true story, by the way.
Right. I understand how you felt.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That was a very challenging job.
It was
Audition.
so hard, incredibly hard.
Right.
I thought I was going to do well, to tell you the
Right,
truth.
right.
Because my English is not bad. It's pretty
Right.
good. But it's different story when you have to live translate the whole thing, like
Yeah.
immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were sitting in another room.
Yeah.
So you couldn't see anyone, right? Or you can see on the screen.
I can. I don't remember through like video or through like one-way mirror or stuff like that. But
Right.
I did observe what's going on in the
Right.
room,
Right.
and it was actually it's not the real situation because it was a test, right?
Yeah.
So nobody's gonna put me to a real job because they didn't know if I could do the job, right? So yeah, but I did horribly.
Oh.
And I so disappointed with
Really?
myself at the time. Yeah. So we were going to be talking about this more on this episode. So first of all, for a lot of people who are watching right now, they might know that you're an interpreter that we have as a guest today. But please introduce yourself to make sure our viewer know better who you are. So just tell me who you are and what you do.
So my name is Fa, like you introduced me already, and I am an English tutor, and I am also a simultaneous interpreter and a bilingual MC right now as well, right?
Okay, so the kind of translation or interpretation that you just did at the beginning of the show is called
simultaneous,
which means happening at the same time, right?
At the same time, instantly.
Yeah.
So you got the feeling of another person speaking at the same time. How did you feel as a listener?
Well, this is not a real situation.
Right.
So I have to be super focused on what I want to say or speak. But for the real situation, you might be in a different room or you will have your own booth.
Yeah.
So your interpretation would not
interfere
bother.
with, or bother the speaker, right? But you feel that level of focus, right?
Right, yeah.
And then you listen to me and then you understand
what I say. I
try
not to listen to you because that will
Yeah.
So, but there's another form of interpretation, which is the consecutive, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which means what?
So for consecutive interpretation, you would have to wait for the speaker to pause before you convey the meaning in another language. Yes.
And you both would know the cue. Right? Because they would know also that, okay, you can say a certain things, then you pause and wait for the translation to do their job.
Yes. But sometimes if they forget, then you have to remind them, like, please pause. Like, hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you've done both,
I've done both, yes.
Okay.
Right.
Which
so
one do you prefer?
I would have to say I like simultaneous interpretation more.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
challenging, right?
Yeah,
it's challenging.
It is wild.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right. Actually, both are challenging, but I feel like for me, simultaneous interpretation is like there's little amount of loss during the translation or the conveying of the meaning because you have to translate literally everything being spoken. But for consecutive interpretation, you have to take notes.
Okay. That would help.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. And sometimes if you translate really too long, it's going to take time.
I know, yeah.
So sometimes you have to shorten or like summarize.
I see.
Right.
Okay. And the thing is คุณผู้ชมคุณผู้ฟังครับคนคนนี้ไม่เคยไปเรียนต่างประเทศมาก่อน You have never lived abroad before.
Never lived abroad, never studied abroad or at any international school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, did you have a chance and decided not to go or you decided altogether that I'm fine by myself. Like just, I don't need to go and get a further study.
Well, to be honest, I didn't think that much when I was like younger. I think I did have a chance, but I didn't make a decision or something. I was really young.
You didn't pursue it?
Yeah, I didn't pursue it. And I didn't feel like I need to at that time. Because actually all the credits go to my mom because she's the one who like introduced me to the English world. She took me to like a tutoring school when I was in kindergarten school. Yeah, and I got to meet like a very cool American teacher who just like play game all the time, like Uno cards or like vocabulary card games. And I didn't focus on grammar that much. And I feel like I just want to have fun. I want to meet my teacher every day.
Wasn't that the best way to learn English?
That's right. Yeah.
Take the textbook out of the equation.
Right.
At the beginning, I think that would help a lot. So you don't feel the pressure of being like super correct all the time, and people would correct you like ลืมเติม ed นะลูกไม่ลืมผันนะลูกอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
I didn't feel any pressure back then because I think for foreign teachers they wouldn't put that kind of pressure on you, right? Because the key is to just communicate
and have fun.
Yeah, and just have fun. And if you say something wrong, if you make mistakes, they will correct you in a nice way. They would just like repeat the sentence in a correct form.
ไม่มีการให้บอกว่าเขกโต๊ะหรือ
No.
I wish all English classes are like that.
Yeah, just like have fun.
All the kids. Okay, so you didn't go and get your study abroad, but somehow you managed to speak at this level. So did you go to international school or No. Okay.
Yeah, so I went to วัฒนาเตรียมพัฒน์เตรียมอุดม and then อักษรจุฬา
Wow.
Right.
The EP program?
No.
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 Not even an EP program.
Not an EP program, but when I was in เตรียมพัฒน์ I was in an intensive English program.
Okay.
Yeah, but like in order to be in that program, you have to have like certain skills. You have to pass another form of test or something like that. So it means like you have to have certain level of English proficiency.
Okay.
Right.
So how did you teach yourself to speak like a native?
Like a
this?
native already?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm flattered.
Very close to, but if I close my
yeah.
eyes, I would just think
Thank
that
you.
I'm talking to a native speaker. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, this is like a very simple answer. I just watch a lot of movies and listen to songs. I would like print out the lyrics and use my highlighter to highlight all the vocabulary and look up the words in the dictionary. Like I do all kinds of that. And I would talk to myself in the mirror. Sometimes I would repeat like the dialogue or the monologue of the character without even knowing what it means when I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember the whole thing and I just say it.
So this
Yeah.
is something that we have already talked on the show
Right.
multiple times.
Right.
And some people might be like, really? Is that enough? Like just to watch movies and listen to songs
Yeah.
and probably listen to some podcasts and try to talk to yourself in English?
Yeah.
Is that really enough to get you to this level?
It is.
Okay.
So
do
I'm
you
a living
think you
proof.
do anything different, like in any specific way to just I don't know. What is your like tricks and tips that you can share?
Well, I would say that for some people, they feel like it might not be enough, maybe because they haven't done enough. It's not the action itself that is not enough, but
Okay.
maybe because each person has different speed and pace of learning and something like that, right? So when I say like I listen to podcasts, it's not just listening, but I would familiarize myself with the accent. And when I come across that word like somewhere else, I would just like my memory would go back to the sound that I have heard before. Like if you have never heard it in your life, you cannot pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of like you have to create your own environment. Maybe you just turn on something and make it run and play.
Yeah.
And the sound, it's in your brain already without you knowing.
Yeah. Put
Yeah.
extra effort into
Yeah.
the learning.
Right.
Not just okay, I've listened to some
And so
episodes.
what, yeah.
Yeah, and so what? And
Yeah.
then what else
Right.
did you do extra
Yeah.
to make sure that you
Yeah.
get what you need to get?
And when I say I watch a movie, it's not like one time. I watch some
Right.
movies like 5 times. I watch with the Thai subtitles or sometimes English subtitles, English audio, English subtitles. And that helps with the listening skill as well because it's like when you hear the sound and it's the same as the letters as they go, they match. And then you get the word like instantly.
Yeah. So maybe just repeat the movies you like.
Yeah.
You get, the freedom of choosing your own material.
Right.
Right? Just
Yeah.
pick something that you would enjoy watching for 10 times
Yeah.
and use it.
And you know what? What's even more amazing is that you can learn English from a Thai movie.
Oh, really? How?
Turn on the English subtitle.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how I study translation as well
I
in my free
forgot
time.
about that. Yeah. You can do that totally.
Yeah. It's a really eye-opening experience. You will like learn vocabulary without feeling too tired because you understand the Thai, right? But
Right.
then you will be amazed by how the translator use each word for each expression. And then you learn that English word.
And you would
watching
be
a Thai
like,
movie.
oh, I never thought of it that way before.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we can actually use this word to express that.
Yeah.
Wow, so cool. Well, before we move on to your interpreter job,
Yeah.
there's these two words, like interpret and translate. ภาษาไทยใช้ด้วยกันคือแปล แต่ว่าภาษาอังกฤษมีใช้สองคำนี้ so being a translator and being an interpreter is it similar or different in any way?
So translators deal with written words while interpreters deal with spoken words. So actually in Thai we translate, we say แปล but interpret it should be ล่าม
Yeah.
Yeah. So interpretation doesn't only mean ตีความ but it can mean ล่าม
Right.
Right.
okay. So
ล่าม
it's-
as a verb and ล่าม as a person.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
different. But
It's
your
different.
focus is mainly on the interpretation job, right?
Right.
Okay. So
Yes.
tell us, how did you get your start in this line of work?
Wow.
Was it a long time ago?
Not a long time ago. A few years before COVID-19.
Oh,
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a long time ago.
No.
Not at all.
Okay. How did you start?
I would have to say that I go back to like the first time I actually like have a job. I was an English tutor when I was a 12th grader. So that's the first time I actually worked. And after that, I went to a lot of auditions for like TV commercials and stuff like that. So I know casting crew and they know the TV crew. Right? And then when they know that I teach English, they're kind of like, oh, we have this program and we're like auditioning for interpreters. Do you want to try? Right. So I tried. And the first job was the Dhamma reality TV show.
Okay.
Dhamma, like religious related jargon and stuff like that. Yeah. And the first job was a 1-month project. Live streaming on many platforms.
Wow.
Right.
How was it? How was the experience?
I think it's similar experience as you had, right?
Yeah.
Like first time jump into this career and but I was fortunate to kind of like be trained a month before.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
actually the clients were so nice. They had like a briefing meeting where they asked the interpreters to like meet up and give us like reference materials to study 1 month before. So all like the aliyasasi, sangkawatu or something like that, you have to know in Thai in English before the show. Yeah.
So is it just only Thai to English?
Thai to English, yes.
Okay. And how about English to Thai? Which one do you think is easier or more fun?
For me, I like from Thai to English.
Okay.
Did you expect that kind of answer?
I don't even know. Yeah, kind of. Thai to English seems to be like more fun or more flexible, I would say. I'm not even sure. So talking about flexibility, how much of that do you have in your work? Like, are you allowed to be flexible with the choice of words, or can you summarize or can you paraphrase as opposed to saying the whole thing word for word?
Really good question. It got me into thinking like about so many things. Okay, so to answer the first question, I will show you that from Thai to English and English to Thai is so different. Like when it's Thai, it's like subject, verb, object, right? And then you have a noun and then adjective later.
ฉันกินข้าว
Yeah. But for English, when it's a noun phrase, you have a noun, but then the adjective comes before the noun. So that means when you translate, it goes like this. Right? Because Thai, you need that kham noun. You need that noun. But the noun is like really, like you have to wait for it.
Oh, right.
Right. So that's why grammar and syntax really matter when it comes to translation. Syntax is like how the words are arranged in a sentence. Yeah. So like, I think a good interpreter or translator need to understand that kind of difference as well.
Okay. So grammar is still important. That you have to understand how words or sentence works.
Right.
Okay.
Like basically, if I say he's done, he has done or he was done, that's totally different meaning, right?
I see.
So sometimes like grammar play a part in the meaning.
Yeah.
So you need to understand in order to convey the true meaning. So your question about flexibility, and I would say that ideally, you have to translate everything like and make it an equivalence, a correspondence. But actually, the more I study about these theories, there's no equivalence, no perfect equivalence in two languages or cultures.
Yeah.
Right?
But
So
you can get to the closest meaning.
Right. So that would be like a close equivalent or something like that.
I see.
Yeah. And
Okay.
when you ask about like, do I paraphrase or summarize, which is a really good question. So paraphrasing, actually, when you think about it, you have to convey the same meaning using different words in the same language. But when you translate, it's a whole another language.
see.
So you can, if you say you paraphrase the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, because you have to convey it and put it into another language system.
But could it mean like, okay, maybe they're saying something and sound very formal.
Right.
And then you would want to paraphrase it
Right.
by making it easier to understand or less formal for some reason. So to
Right.
me, that how paraphrase could work in some context. And
Right.
do you do that, or is it a good idea to paraphrase in that sense?
Well, yeah. To answer your question, when you translate something, you have to think about the sense and the form, sense and the style. Right.
Okay.
So there are certain types of equivalence. For example, the formal equivalence, like the form has to match. Or there's another type is dynamic. It's more flexible. The goal is to convey the naturalness of the language. So to answer your question, yes, there are many translation approaches, and the factors that determine the approach, you got to make a decision. It's your call.
Right.
Right.
And you do need to go to like different levels of languages too, in order to convey like the vibe or the characteristics of
Right.
the sentence. Like for example, if I say โหโคตรเจ๋งเลยอ่ะกับมีประสิทธิภาพยอดเยี่ยมมาก Of course, it
Right.
would translate into the
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
sentences, right?
That's right. Yeah, basically. Because the factors that I said that could determine like the target audience or the purpose of the meeting, or if the clients give you a brief, like you should do this, you should tone this down, or yeah, it depends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely you have to think about the sense and the style.
Yeah. I was thinking
Right.
about like if it's like a peace talk, like between leaders of nation, and you be like too casual, like all the slangs, that wouldn't match, right? And it would
They would
totally
kill me. The clients would kill me.
I know, right? Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
vice versa, you cannot like
Yeah.
be too formal in a very casual and fun situation.
Right.
That would also change the atmosphere.
That's right. So I would say that we have the agency to make a decision, but it's not. We have the. We can take the liberty of doing something, but in a certain degree. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not just that you, okay, I'm very good at English. I got all the A's, and now I can go and work as an interpreter. It needs like not a little, but a lot more than that.
Right.
So
Right.
you have to study even your audience and your material, the
Yes.
content. But if you don't have a lot of material beforehand, I mean,
Right.
you just told me the story about
Yes.
the job that you just had,
Right.
and you had no preparation because you have no material sent to you,
Right.
and that would be a lot tricky.
That would be really challenging, and that is like the common issues that all interpreters face, interpreters around the world. Yeah. So actually, this is a really good opportunity and platform to share with the clients and organizers as well that we need time to prepare, and you should, if you want the best performance, give us the reference materials, please. Yeah.
In order to do a great job for you.
Right.
Okay.
However, I understand some limitations. Maybe it's not finished or it's not finalized. What I could do, my best, I still need research and preparation. I would just like Google the name of the organization, and I would read the whole website, like vision, mission, the name of the board.
Wow.
Yeah, and I would have. Yeah, I do more than that. I actually look up on Google, on YouTube as well, and search for the videos if they make a speech anywhere to be acquainted with the accent if I have to translate that person.
Wow.
Yeah, like sometimes you prepare blindly, but over prepare
It's
is better than under prepare, right?
Yeah. So you've studied your master's,
Right.
Which is for the translation.
Yes.
What is the name of the degree?
The name is translation and interpretation, but the focus was on the interpretation.
I see.
Yeah.
So what I want to ask you is that did they prepare you for all this in school? Like, did they tell you that this might happen, so you have to familiarize yourself with stuff like this, or you just learned that on the job?
On the
your
job,
own?
I would have to say.
Okay.
Because translation, as you know by now, is so different from interpretation because they deal with written words only.
Okay.
So for like translation courses, they will focus on like translating articles or news or subtitles or even advertisement.
So they did not teach you that there was no classes for like live interpretation like you do right
There
now.
are a few courses, but it's not like open every year. Right. It's not available like all the time. So
Okay.
yeah, so I learned a lot of things like on the job. For real, like the first job I learned to how do you translate the word P?
Oh, wow. Older brother, older like P in what context?
Right. So you
Yeah.
don't know, right?
Yeah.
So in that
or
TV
senior
show, yeah.
at work.
It's hard, right? This is a problem. This is a challenge already. So there was like one person in that show and say like, พี่ผม but then you don't know if you're gonna say like brother or sister because in English you have to identify the gender, right?
Yeah.
So
or
you-
ลูกพี่ลูกน้อง or
Yeah.
พี่
You
จ
don't
ริง
know,
ๆ
right? So that day I couldn't do it. I just say sibling. That's the best that I could do. But the
you
next
just have to risk it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Because it's very like it has to be
Yeah.
then and there.
Right.
Yeah.
I cannot just like Google and read the biography or
You didn't
something
have
like
time
that.
for
Yeah.
that.
But what I can do, it was the first job and it was a 1-month project, so I had time
Okay.
to make it better. So when I came home that day, I searched about that person. I like watch all the introduction videos
Yeah.
like มีพี่น้อง
Pull up
ผู้หญิง
the family
ผู้ชาย
tree.
Yeah, right. And I put it on like post it and put it on the desk. So the next time anyone say พี่ or น้อง I can know that that's his sister or brother. It's
Wow.
something that they don't teach you, right?
There's a lot going into your job. I mean,
Right?
it's not
Yeah.
just I master both languages. I can do the job. No.
No. Even if you translate like I and you, how are you going to translate that?
I know. Like, we have many to choose from.
Right. If it's a relationship between a mother and a son, you can say like แม่ลูกผมคุณฉันเธอคุณท่าน
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
And most of the time when you do the live interpretation, you do it both ways, right? From
Yes.
Thai to English, English to Thai.
Yeah.
So doubly challenged
Right.
on both languages.
Yeah, you need to be able to do the code switching. Sometimes you have to switch the language in the middle of a sentence.
Okay.
Sounds fun, right?
Okay. I feel better now that, okay, it's obvious and that's why I couldn't do it. Because
You could do it. I think you maybe you need like some brain exercise or some warm up, maybe like 5 or 10 minutes after you do that, and then you like เครื่องติด
I think
Yeah.
if I had more time, I think I can do it.
Right.
I think because I've done it before for the consecutive interpretation. Because I used to do the radio DJ job, and a lot of times we interview like international artists, and I had to do the translation anyway for both languages. But right then, I think it was not that tough because I would have time for them to finish, and then I can think for a little bit, and then I do the translation.
Yeah.
But you don't wait, and you can't wait. You just have to like lining up. เลยใช่ไหม
Yeah. Actually, I cannot wait. Actually, there's a word. It's called cognitive load. It's like your brain memory. So the slower the more slowly you go, you have to remember more,
Oh, that's
and
true.
then you struggle more. So
Yeah.
you have to do it fast so that you don't have to remember anything.
โอ้จริงด้วยคืออันโหลดไปเลยอันโหลดแล้วก็บอกว่า yeah
Yeah.
Ooh, okay
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's a fun part for you when you talk about that I can see sparkles
Like that,
oh
right.
this is how I have
Yeah.
fun
Yeah, it's actually really fun and really challenging, and it just keeps your brain going, running, and all the information and all the knowledge you have all your life, it becomes relevant. When people complain when they study at school, they can be like, why are we studying this? We don't have to use this.
but you never know
You never know. I got to translate like a lot of religious-related words, jargon, like Buddhism, and I thought of me like when I was really young, like, oh, I study hard. I remember what these are, something like that.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's the thing. The thin line between, being a so-so interpreter and a great interpreter.
Ooh.
If you have like a lot accumulated over time,
Yeah,
like
that's
all the
true.
knowledge and
Right.
and like like wide variety of stories.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually lucky because I started as an English tutor, so I did a lot of exams. Like I read a lot of TOEFL, IELTS exams, so I got to like know a lot of vocabulary in different fields. Yeah, so I can just like put it into use. Like it comes in handy.
Comes in handy.
Yeah.
Okay, teach me. Help me get my start.
Right.
Okay. For example, if I wanted to start my journey as an interpreter, where do I start? Like, this is for a lot of people who are watching right now too, that they think, okay, I have a pretty good command of English and I want to pursue or explore if I can do this job.
Right.
Where do they start?
Wow. That's a really tough question to answer because different people have different approaches, right? But for me, I started by study the vocabulary first if I got a job, or even I don't, I would just collect and take notes of all the words that I learn. Right, like when I listen to podcasts, I would just take notes. I would just copy the whole sentence if I like it and put it down and like revise and review it a lot. And also another thing that I would like to suggest you all do.
Wow, she came prepared.
Yay!
Wow.
So everyone can remember. So you have heard of comparative reading, right? This is literally like comparing the two books in English and Thai, page by page.
So same book, but like in different languages.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And did you say like page for page?
You can do that. You can do like chapter after chapter or page after a page. Or sentence after sentence if you have a question. It's like when you read something and you think like, how am I going to translate this? And then you have the answer. Yeah.
Wow, that's a neat way to practice.
Have you ever done that?
I haven't done that.
Right.
Okay.
It sounds like really nerdy, right?
Yeah.
Why do you buy like two books, same story?
But I can see the fun in that because I also work as an editor for เป็นบก.ต้นฉบับแปล So this is kind of what I do also.
Right.
Yeah, because I have to like go over all the translation from a translator and then I have to check. I need to like compare. Actually, I've done this, but not for myself, for my work.
Right.
Yeah, so I need to make sure that the translation is accurate. Yeah.
But for many people, if they want to practice, they can do it for fun. And also, like I told you before, like when I watch movies, I would always turn on English subtitles. Even I watch a Thai movie. That's how I study how other people translate things.
I see.
Right.
That is so cool.
And actually, when you watch something, even though you're like not on your job, but you would come across the problem or the challenge like all the time because there are a lot of cultural differences. For example, like I watch Pi Mak, and then there's a game like charade and people guessing words, and it's like Pi Sia.
Right.
Because Nang Na is Pi, right? How are you going to translate that?
I know.
Pi, and then she Sia.
Right.
So the translation is like dead and shirt. Desert, desert. Wow. So it's not butterfly anymore. It's not ผีเสื้อ but it becomes dead shirt.
But
desert.
Okay.
You see, it's like, it's always fascinating.
I see. But that case, you have to have the authority to change things.
Right.
Accordingly in order to make sense. For the movie to make sense to the viewers, right?
Right.
Okay. But what if it happens during your live simultaneous interpretation? Like for example, how do you translate jokes like on the spot?
Right. Okay, so this is funny. I come across this cases many times when there's like joke or something like that. I believe all interpreters, they have the agency to make a decision, right? So they can just say something like, this is a joke. Please laugh.
People do that?
Yes, if it's untranslatable, right? Untranslatable.
And this is okay to do?
It's okay. Because if it's like, it's impossible to translate. How are you going to translate, right? It doesn't make sense. So you can just say,
and
please
you could
laugh.
just go silent. You have to say something.
Yeah, and then the audience can laugh. Like, as if they understand. Okay, that's one way to do.
Okay.
If it's really untranslatable. But if it's a joke that you can translate, you can change the word a little bit. Actually, I have some examples.
Okay.
There's like the one question that you ask, like, does my brain function differently as a translator or interpreter, right? Like every time someone says something that sounds challenging to translate, my mind would think of the translation for days. When my friend says something like, oh, you gotta work tomorrow, like ทำงานก็ดีชีวิตมีค่าค่าน้ำค่าไฟค่าโทรศัพท์
Ooh.
And it's like here like 3 days. Like how am I gonna translate that?
I know. Because that's not just a joke but puns.
Yeah.
And that's even trickier.
Right.
Like play on word การเล่นคำ
Yeah.
พันมันยิ่งยากกว่าอีก Because
That's right.
it's very special for each language.
That's right. So I came up with this. Well, hard work pays off the debt. So you don't have to say like ค่าน้ำ like electric bill or just like the debt. Or you can just say like make your life count. Don't forget to count the money in your bank account or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still a pun. You're
Yes.
still using a pun but in your own version.
Right.
But just kind of keep the overall meaning.
Right.
That
So
is
you-
super tricky.
But it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no like one right answer. Yeah.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a
Yeah.
game for your brain.
You're right.
Ah.
And when you can do that, you feel proud of yourself. Like,
Super.
yeah, wow, I can
Yeah.
think of it like, wow.
Yeah. I totally get you. I know that it might sound super nerdy right now, but I do get
Yeah.
what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow. So
Yeah,
cool.
because if it's something like straightforward, we don't have to discuss or think about anything, right? It's just
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Right. Well, speaking of something very cultural, of
Yes.
course, besides jokes and puns, there are slangs, like
Right.
trending slangs that people
Right.
use and they keep changing over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So let's play a little game.
Okay.
I think this might add to your like challenge
Right.
list.
Let's play it together.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So maybe you have something for me.
Right,
Okay,
right.
from your work. Okay. จงแปลแสลงจับๆต่อไปนี้
Wow.
Actually, job is so dated.
It doesn't sound that.
No, job is not
Up to
job
date.
anymore.
Trendy.
ทันกันไหม job?
I know that.
Okay. All right. So ตัวตึง
Ooh.
เราจะสู้ไหวไหมอ่ะทางโน้นเขาส่งตัวตึงมาเลยนะ Go.
ตัวตึง Well, if it's a mother, you can say queen, slay. Right.
Okay.
She's like the badass, the goddess, the blah, blah, blah.
A lot of potentials that you
Right.
can use. So the thing is, maybe you might have to wait a little bit for the context before you start
That's
your
true.
interpretation, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Like you said before,
Right.
like sometimes you have to wait a little.
That's right.
Okay.
To understand what the message is being conveyed is about. Right. Actually, when people say like content is king, but then context is God.
I know, yeah.
Right?
You
Yeah.
have to know what they're talking about
That's right.
first. Okay.
Yeah.
So did this happen to you like you in a hurry and you just go so fast to your translation and then that wasn't it, and then you back out a little bit and then you redo it again?
I would do that sometimes if it's wrong or
Okay.
if I didn't understand the context first, but the translation like went out already, so I would have to say it again, repeat
Okay.
the meaning or something like that.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Right.
ตัวตึงนะครับได้หลายคำเลยนะครับ Okay. Let's do this one. ขิด
Oh my gosh.
นี่ยังจะให้ทำเพิ่มอีกเหรอเนี่ยแค่นี้ก็จะขิดแล้วจ้า Go.
Oh my gosh. I'm literally dying. Or I'm digging myself a hole. Or oh my gosh, are you killing me? Oh my gosh, this is too much.
Yeah. ขิด means ตายนั่นแหละเนาะ
Yeah.
มันคือแบบตาย
Yeah.
So well we can
Too much to handle. Do it by yourself. Bye.
we can use like so many words to like convey die or
Right.
dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's do this.
Yeah.
บงหัวหน้า
บง
คนใหม่บงไม่ไหว
Oh my gosh.
เป็นหัวหน้าได้ไงเนี่ย
Oh my gosh. Bong, right?
Yeah.
I would say something like
คือมันต้องแปลไทยเป็นไทยก่อน
yeah because bong is like
yeah
not okay right can I say bad words
well let's see
like a piece of something
okay yeah
or
crappy
but it doesn't sound so bong right crappy or
yeah.
like
so okay in your mind how do you work out the process in your mind like when you hear the word bong right you step one is what translate bong into Thai
normal
first?
Thai yeah
okay.
like not good
not good
yes
but do you then have to find the level of the word
yeah the closest equivalent to bong like bong in what way lame stupid
oh lame,
or,
lame could be a good way
yeah but I don't know if the
too.
bong here is like lame or not right so bong in what way but if I have to choose I might say a piece of
okay.
it's like rude or something like
so
that
so in your mind bong is pretty harsh
yes
okay
right
see to me bong could be not so harsh
Ooh.
bong could be like sucky or lame I would say lame for bong
I feel like when someone complain about a boss it's
okay.
not light
okay it's not just
maybe for my interpretation yeah
okay
but no right answer right
I see
yeah
okay how about
มาเลยดิ
ยกตัว
มา
อย่าง
เลย
ประ
ดิ
โยคยังไงดี
like your face is so like
yeah or I've heard people say use it like หุ้ยเพลงดีแต่ MV มาก
yeah it's like
ว่าคือแบบ
like it's so plain it's so not cool
not
that's a
powerful
one
enough
yeah like
could have been better
do you have a charger with you you should battery yourself or like boost yourself up
boost ใช่ไหม
yeah
energy boost
yeah something like that
yeah this is
like
so
lady
hard
wake up
yeah
it can mean like yeah
right okay how about this one หวานเจี๊ยบ
Ooh, can you tell me the meaning of หวานเจี๊ยบ
like from my experience it's like when you're trying to kiss ass yeah and you try to say like all good things
okay so it's like หวานเจี๊ยบ like kissing ass you can be like oh my god you're so sweet I'm so flattered oh my gosh or it's just like are you sugarcoating me oh I believe you who know I know or something like that I don't know but it was like ชงมาหวานเจี๊ยบ it's just like dope like she ate and left no crumbs something like that
yeah see you have to know all the slangs in like both languages in order to like find the right match
yeah
wow
there's like one job that the speaker say the word the name of the soap opera called เกมรักทรยศ right and then you have to know that it's a soap opera not a TV show not a game show some people would translate like เกมรักthat it's a game show so you need to know
ความรู้รอบตัวเนอะ
yeah that's right you never know who's gonna like tell what kind of joke
wow that is true
and it happened and like my buddy at that time he didn't watch a lot of soap operas so he thought it was a game show
so he didn't know
yeah but what I did I write it down on my post-it and hand over to him so he's just like it's a soap opera yeah
well you need to keep up I mean with every single like piece of information like you need to your like cultural knowledge
but it's fun right
entertainment knowledge it's fun
like everything becomes relevant
that's true
right
wow because like you said you never know when you need it okay all right for the last one this is totally new for me too เอาให้ห้อง
I don't know what
you guys heard it
like หมาเห่าห้องเหรอ
yeah exactly I just knew about this morning and it was like what ห้องคืออะไร
เอาให้ห้อง just like
เดาสิ
แบบ
can you guess
just slay and make everyone bark like that
kinda it's like
เหมือนให้หมาเห่าหอนมันห้องไปเลยอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
so it would suggest what เอาให้ห้อง
you go girl I don't know
could be yeah possibly so it's like present by นี้เอาให้ห้องประมาณนี้ป่ะ this is how you use it
kill it ace it or like
yeah
left no crumbs
yeah
Wow, so hard.
Still,
I never
still a
think-
lot that we have to learn.
There are a lot.
And the
Yeah.
thing is, I think you cannot stop learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
most important part of
That's
doing your job
true.
well as an
That's right.
interpreter.
Yeah. Like when you ask like, what does it take to be a good interpreter? I think it's curiosity. Because if you're curious about things, you're gonna keep learning and wanting to know more. Like for example, there's like a job that I have to translate the words cardiac arrest versus heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
For Thai people, they might be familiar with the word หัวใจวาย but then for cardiac arrest, it's หัวใจหยุดเต้น. So if like, I don't know, some interpreters might stop there. Okay, หัวใจวาย and then หัวใจหยุดเต้น. But a good interpreter has to be curious. Like you're not a doctor. You want to know what are the causes, what are the symptoms, and you do your research. In case the speaker talks about the symptoms, if he talks about กล้ามเนื้อหัวใจ, you need to know it's heart muscle, right? If it's like อุดตัน, you need to know it's clogged, it's blocked, or something like that.
Yeah.
So when you look up the words, not only like the direct translation, but you have to know more about that.
Yeah. Just don't let it end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep asking questions. Keep
Yes.
your curiosity flowing.
Yes.
Wow. That is such a good point. And
Right.
yeah, I can totally see that would make a good translator, a great interpreter.
Right.
Wow.
Because normally, like for a job that requires interpretation, you have to interpret brilliant minds, right? These people, they're like full of expertise, experience, and you have to kind of like understand what they're saying in
Yeah.
order to convey the meaning.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're already the less knowledgeable person in that room, in that like science.
That's true.
Right?
I'm not a doctor, I'm not a surgeon, but
Yeah.
I'm translating
Yeah.
a surgeon or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
it's just fun to learn.
Such a good point.
Right.
Okay, so another hard question
Yeah.
is that when you have to do the interpretation for a hard subject or a sensitive subject,
Right.
would you have to translate something hurtful or something that you know for sure that would hurt the speaker themselves? You would still have to do it, right? I mean,
Ideally.
technically,
Ideally.
Yeah.
So I would say there are two answers, two approaches to that kind of challenge. The first one, you translate everything. It's like code of ethics or like that's what a translator or an interpreter is for, right? You translate the whole thing. But if your client knock on your door and say, please tone down the speech because it's too much, it's not as we expected, or please don't make the content offensive.
Oh, because sometimes you didn't expect this.
No.
Things got heat up
Yeah.
at the moment.
Right.
I mean, okay.
Yeah. So I am talking about an example in conference scenario, like a meeting, a workshop, giving knowledge and like empowerment, that kind of situation. But if you're translating or interpreting for a negotiation setting or debate or argument, then you would have to look at the purpose. Like if you have to translate, because that's the purpose, they want to make the other person angry, then you have to do it.
Wow. And you might have to take the heat for that. I imagine that, of course, it's the other person talking that you speak in the language that they understand. So do you take the heat for that too, do you think?
I feel offended. I take the heat of the audience sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Right.
like, okay, I would have to admit this. Like other interpreters, they might not take this approach, but normally when I translate something or when I translate your speech, when you say ผม I say I, even though it's not me. But there's like one time that person is so offensive, so I say he.
Ooh, that's a good technique. Just
Well,
steer it away from you.
yeah, but
okay.
different people have different opinions or perspectives
I
or
see.
approaches or codes of conduct or ethics. But for
Okay.
me, at that time, that's what I can do best because the client gave me the authority to tone down.
I see. Okay. So you have to make sure that people get the message or at least understand the situation. This is not me speaking. This is him or this is her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
This is how you survive, huh?
I'm not sure if I will survive after this. But you can see that there's some like controversy or it's not conclusive, right? And yeah.
Wow.
But actually, this kind of job makes you more open-minded, more flexible, more resilient, and like you have to think on your feet. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So I'm someone who always believes in learning from mistakes and failures because it would teach you a whole lot.
Right.
So would you be willing to share some of your failing moment or times that you have to struggle for your life so much during the job?
Of course.
And how it turned out?
Okay, I will share with you. Okay. As a language lover, I think a lot of people will know that I hate math. I don't like numbers. Like the thought of numbers actually scares me already. So I have to translate or convert numbers. Let's say it's Buddhist era and then to CE common era. What do? How are you going to convert the number simultaneously? Sometimes, the first time I pull out my calculator like on the phone and then just
Minus
like
543.
Yeah. But it's too slow. What if there are many years? So I have this. I will show you.
มีพร็อพ
I would say like this is like my interpretation Bible.
Ooh.
I print out this.
Oh, you got your cheat sheets.
Yay! Right? I would just have to I put it on my desk and I could see it right away. It's Buddhist era and common era. And I can share it with my partner as well. I have two.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this help a lot. You don't have to use your calculator and you can do it like instantly.
Have it ready.
Yeah.
Right.
And also for numbers, when it's like แสนหมื่นล้านพันล้าน just the thought of it scares me. So I
Yeah.
printed this out. In case like that day I froze. It's like you know it, 100,000 you know it. But maybe if you're like really under stress and then you just froze, this could help. Right, the conversion table.
Wow.
Yeah, because sometimes in English, when you say like 1,500, you can say 1,500.
Right.
So you cannot say 1,500. Another thing I do is I write it down. When I hear the number, I would write it down and then I just translate from what I see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if it's like 1,500, it's like 1,500, and then I can say 1,500.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you write along.
Yeah, I have to
Okay,
write if
take
it's
notes.
numbers. Yeah, and also abbreviation.
Wow, that's also
Everyone
super
is
tricky.
dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever make
Of
any
course.
mistakes? Okay.
It's not a mistake, but it's like I don't know.
So what did you do? You
Google.
just right
Look it
then
up
and
right
there.
away. Yeah. So when you do simultaneous interpreting, it's not just like listening and speaking. You're very multitasking. You have to look it up while you listen and interpreting at the same time. You have to look up that abbreviation because if you don't know the abbreviation, how can you translate into another language abbreviation, right?
That's true. And you have to do it fast.
That's right. That's right.
God. So that's the case if you didn't have any preparation or
Right.
material beforehand, right? So you have
That's
to
right.
do it right then
Or
and
even
there.
if the speaker just want to mention some abbreviation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Even it's not in the reference materials.
Yeah.
If you know it, you're good to go. But if you don't.
He could like go on the tangent and talk about something else, and then, well,
That's
this is
right.
not what I have like the brief
Yeah,
for.
right.
Okay. Yeah. You have to be prepared.
Yeah. You
Okay.
have to be prepared and you have to Google things fast.
Yeah. Use all the tools
Yeah.
that can help you.
And actually, abbreviation doesn't end there. For example, if you talk about WHO, you have to know that it's WHO. You cannot say it who. That's going to be wrong, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be able to distinguish between acronym and initialism.
Yeah.
That comes from preparation and asking why or how or what do I say? How do you pronounce this?
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Like we don't say NASA but NASA.
Yeah, like
Okay,
that.
You have to know how people like use the word or like pronounce it
Yeah.
Wow.
Like if someone translate for you like "oyo" and then they say "ayo," you're gonna be
right
like,
that's
"What?"
super off this is not
Yeah,
how
you cannot
we talk.
say like "fabi," you say "FBI."
yeah
Yeah, the listener will know.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake.
yeah okay
Right.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That is so scary
But
yeah
it's fun, right? But when you I think when you learn about these challenges, when you come across these challenges, you will find a solution for yourself. Yeah. Maybe you cannot solve the problem at that time. It's okay, you learn. You can do better.
Okay. I think it's not wrong to say that each interpreter has his or her own way of practicing or improving or
Right.
like getting to the top of the game. But do you have any like basic foundation rule or something that newbies should know about becoming a good interpreter?
Wow. The baseline would be solid languages. Like you have to be proficient in language skills and then even your like native language, right? The mother tongue. Sometimes some people might have a hard time pronouncing "rā ria" or something like that. So, okay, for translators or interpreter, you have to have solid languages. You have to have good speaking skills, communication skills. You have to have, I would say, an accent that is easy to listen to.
Okay.
You don't have to have like American or British accent, but you have to pronounce the word correctly, like with the stress, the intonation. Like you have to understand the nature of the language. Yeah. And also you need to understand the cultural differences. Is that a lot already?
Yeah. I think that's
like a lot already.
a whole lot. But like you said, if you find all this fun, maybe this is a job for you.
That's right.
Because from what I can see, this is like you improving yourself every day.
Yes.
And it's for the sake of communication or helping others understand each other. So
right.
It's fun. If this is for you and you think this is challenging more than scary, maybe you can pursue this.
Right.
Okay.
Another thing that I would recommend is when you read something in Thai, sometimes I do this as a warm up before a job. I would, let's say the script is in Thai, I would read it out loud in English.
Oh, okay.
So the message is like transmitted through the eyes, but then I say it in English.
Okay.
To warm up the brain. So every time you see something in Thai, think of it in English, like, or say it out loud.
Okay, say it out loud.
Yeah.
Okay.
And another thing, you can just record yourself interpreting at home. And then you watch the replay and then you give yourself feedback and comment.
Wow.
I do that all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that I make mistakes. Sometimes I say "kap," not "krap." It might be annoying for some audience, but I'm working on it. And yeah, I think it's good. Another good thing is self-evaluation, right? Even though you don't have a job today, but you can still act as if you have a job and record yourself, like watch some videos on YouTube and just translate, interpret it. Yeah.
Well, from what I heard, most of what you've done is self-taught, right? And you did a great job teaching yourself. Do you have any like mentor or someone you learned from?
Well, actually, I actually had a master's degree in translation and interpretation, and I have to thank all my professors who taught me all the amazing theories. But the way I use it, like I kind of like apply it in my life or something like that. And I think I do have mentors or the people that I learn from. They are the buddies. They are my interpreter buddies. Everyone I work with, I learn from them. I actually ask them, like, what do you think about my speed? Did you like my translation? Like, I ask in the booth right away. Is there something that I like any comment? Yeah, because sometimes when we work together, if one person like speaks super fast and the other person like very slowly, they do not match, and then the audience might feel like, what? Like change again, like. So sometimes you have to look at the speed and the pace of your friend as well. So every time I go to work, I learn a lot from other people.
Wow, this is something that I didn't think of because it's like, okay, the interpreter job is like you work on your own by yourself, but there might be many times that you have to work with others
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
This is another important thing that I would like everyone to know as well. It's like if for a long period of hours, like a job, like let's say a day with more than 10 speakers, they have to hire like more than one interpreter.
Oh, okay.
We need bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
And also, as I told you, there's a limitation on the cognitive load, and some people can function very effectively for 20 minutes or 15.
Bandwidth.
Yes.
And then you ran out of it, and then you need to recharge.
Right.
Okay.
That's why for like long conference, they need to hire more than one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. So yeah, it sounds a lot more fun now in my head.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you have your own community.
Yeah.
A lot of people you can learn from, and then you can like swap things, like experiences between among you guys, right?
And you know what? When you have a friend, a buddy at work, you don't feel like you walk alone. Because sometimes your friend prepares something and they share the notes with you. Sometimes they share the reference materials. Let's say I get like 10 PowerPoint slides. And then my friend's like, okay, I will study 5 and I study 5. And then in the morning we can share, or you can just send me anything.
Wow.
So it's like friend helping each other, and then you feel like you're not alone and it's not too hard. You have your friend. If you don't know this word, your friend will know that if it's like too hard or like too technical, your friend will look it up for you and write it on the post-it or just show you on the screen.
Wow, this is a good thing to know, that it's not a lonely job like it sometimes looks like.
Not at all. Even though there's another type of interpreter, it's called RSI, and that's Remote Simultaneous Interpreter.
Ooh.
So you have to use like platform like Zoom or Engbypfah or something like that. But the tricky part is, how are you going to hand over to another translator? Because you're at different locations.
Places. Okay.
So it's hard, right?
Yeah.
So you have to talk to your friend like, I type O and then you type K, and it means I can turn my mic off.
Ooh.
Or if I text you, if you go to the bathroom and I would have to go on translating, right? Or you might use some platform, which is a really good platform. It's called Engbypfah. There's a handover button. It's like when you push it, it sends the request to another person. And if that person press like OK, it's going to count down like 3, 2, 1. And then you turn on your mic. And the transition is like seamless.
Oh, okay. Because you do need to turn on and off your mic.
Your microphone.
And actually, it's like the equivalence of saying over when like do the radio transmission.
Yeah.
Okay, like over, it means it's a cue that I'm done talking.
Yes.
Now it's your turn.
Yeah. But then you cannot say over because you're literally speaking.
Yeah.
So you have to just talk to your friend, like nod your friend or like.
I see.
Something like that.
And there's another thing that I see from, just go to her TikTok account.
Yeah.
And what platform do you have? TikTok?
TikTok,
IG Reel?
Instagram, Facebook. Yeah.
Okay.
Engbypfah, the same name.
Yeah, Engbypfah, she puts up all the videos that shows her at work. And there might be a time that you kind of like smash the button.
Yeah, like top my smashing.
In order to send the signal to the other person that, okay, you go now.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you see the action is like very fast. Yeah. Because sometimes it's slow, it's too slow.
Yeah.
You have to hit it hard.
Right.
Yeah. So for that buddy, he prefer us to not like take turns, but he's gonna do the male speakers and I do the female. So every time, if there's like female voice, I hit the button.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, it leads to another question that I want to ask.
Yeah.
So, is there like space for newbies right now? Like, what is the competitiveness like in the industry right now?
I would have to say that I'm such a newbie.
Okay.
Myself, compared to people with like over 20, 30 years of experience. Wow. I would say there is space, definitely, and there are opportunities for everyone because there are different types of meetings, conferences. Maybe it's an interview or like at a booth selling merchandise or something like that, and they need a live, but it's not very serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are many areas.
So there are a lot of types of interpretation job
Right.
okay.
Media interview, press conference, or medical setting court, that requires trained and experience, right?
right
Yeah.
okay so you can still pursue this career
Right.
if
Yeah.
I think like when you listen to this and you might say to yourself that this could be me yeah okay
And if any job is open for audition, you can just send your voice recording, right? Or video.
I see.
Yeah.
So another question is like, what's the pay like? Because when I told my story at
Right.
the beginning of the episode, one reason that I decided to go to the audition,
Right.
even though I knew that I was not qualified, but well, what if maybe?
Right.
And because the money was very good, so is the money really that good?
I would say it's good.
Okay.
Well, I think it depends on the types of the jobs or it depends on each person,
Okay.
but I would say that
Like how hard the job is?
how hard?
Yeah.
You mean like
Like if it's like really difficult situation or
actually the money doesn't depend on the challenge or the
Difficulty.
difficulty at all. It depends on the client's budget.
okay I see
Yeah,
so it
so-
could be a very easy job but
Yes, that's true.
maybe the people that you
They're
need
willing
to
to pay.
translate for is a really high
Right.
profile or
Right.
famous and they have huge budget
Right. Yeah. Or maybe if it's in dollars or something like that. Right. Like foreign clients. Yeah. So it depends. So mostly they will ask, how much do you charge first? Or they will tell you that we have this amount of budget. Is that okay for you? Like I would say like
ขอเรทคุณฟ้าหน่อยครับประมาณนี้
something like that. But I would say like for newbies, me myself as a newbie as well, I started and it's a little bit rosy, but at first I didn't focus on the money that much. I feel like in this field you have to collect all the hours, working hours, in order to be trained and have experience.
ชั่วโมง
right?
บินเนาะ
Yeah, the ชั่วโมงบินthingy.
yeah wow okay.
Yeah, so if you ask me what does it cost, it's just you and your brain, right? It's not like MC when you have to have the makeup artist hairdo or costume or something like that.
okay
So for interpreter, like if you think of it like no cost,
most of the time you be in your booth
yeah. But
Okay.
actually, this is serious as well. I think it's really important to, even though you might feel like you're invisible or you're alone in the booth, but you have to be professional and dress up or
yeah
because you know what, situations might change. There's like one time they told me to be in the booth and then they just changed their mind, like go on the stage because the CEO didn't want to be there alone. Like, อยากมีเพื่อน Can you just stand by the podium? I'm like,
but if you're in your PJs or if
you
you're in your
cannot like wear
sweatpants
sneakers or something like that, or like with
okay.
the, if you care about your appearance, yeah, you have to be professional in case like situation change.
okay
Right.
Wow.
It's important as well, right? Because
That's
if
true.
you're not ready, they're not going to put you on the stage. And who's going to do the job? If you did not like wear proper attire, they ask you to get changed. Like you have to buy some clothes, like something like that.
I see
So you have to care about a lot of things, right? Yeah. But it's
okay
fun.
yeah another question that I kind of lately ask all of my guests because for some reason it's related to all of the industries
Yeah.
Are you afraid of AI stealing your job one day? Because that would be something that AI could do really well, like surprisingly well, and they could be really good, like scary good, with the translation and stuff.
Right.
So, do you see yourself one day have your job like stolen by the AI?
I wouldn't say stolen or replaced. I think actually if you look at it in another angle, you would feel like AI actually helps you boost your creativity. It actually helps you save your energy for something better. Because AI is going to, I heard this, AI is going to replace the commonality. Something straightforward, something that is like, doesn't need a lot of decision making, creativity, inventiveness, or something like that. So actually it will help you prepare more. Maybe your research can be done faster with the help of AI. And then you can just use your brain to focus on something that is more challenging or complex. Yeah. And I would say that when it comes to language, you see their cultural differences, humor, sarcasm, the tone, the style, the form that you have, or even like one word with multiple meanings.
True.
Who's going to make the decision for AI? It's still human, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for the time being, AI cannot replace interpreters.
Not totally, at least.
Not totally, but help.
Yeah, but help.
But help,
It
I would
could be
say.
a great assistance.
Right. Great
you.
assistant. Yes.
Yeah. And
Right.
I was thinking about if AI like make a mistake and that mistake leads to like huge conflict.
Right.
Yeah. Who would be responsible for that?
Right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And
That's
we
true.
cannot let that happen. But
We
at least
cannot,
it is
yeah.
if it's still human interpreter,
Right.
at least you can be held accountable or at
Right.
least you kind of know that you have to do your job well and you can decide make a judgment call right then and there
Right.
like how you're gonna handle the situation.
Yes. Right. Or even the client asks you to tone something down or asks you to do something else. Then AI cannot do that simultaneously, instantly.
Yeah. But I do like your point that you can like recruit AI as your assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it will really help in terms of preparation.
True.
But then when you're like on your job, then it's you.
Yeah.
And your brain.
Just
and
you.
your mouth.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I wish we had more time to maybe we can talk after this.
Yeah, sure.
And I
Of
think it's going to be something that I can enjoy talking for days.
Really?
Yeah. This
It
is
doesn't sound
this is
nerdy at all,
fascinating.
right?
No, not for me.
Wow.
But what about you? You can share. But I think this is so much fun. And it's not like the interpretation job, but it's human communication.
That's
Understanding each other. If you think of it that way,
Yeah.
this is something that has to do with everybody.
Yeah, you know what? As a person who started as an English tutor, like I help people identify the language barrier and help them get over it, right? But as an interpreter, I'm the person who bridge the language barriers and I help people connect. And it's really fulfilling. Very meaningful job. Like this is really important. Like I'm speaking to people so that they understand everything.
Wow.
Like without you, it's not possible, right? Like if this person doesn't speak Thai, how can you talk to another person? Yeah, like so cool.
Wow. And does it sound like something that you would want to be your goal in life or a career that you want to pursue? If yes, maybe you can start by following her and subscribe to her channel and learn from her because she's also learning from the job she's doing every day and from
Right.
her fellow interpreters
Right.
also.
That's true.
Yeah, let's start
Yeah.
with that. All right.
Right.
But before we end the show, I ask this to all my guests as well. I want to know if you have any like favorite word in Thai and English. So what would be your คำนี้ดี for คุณฟ้าครับ
Wow. For English, right now, I like the word vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
Right.
Okay.
So vulnerability, people would think that it means weakness or susceptibility or something like that, right? But when you look at the word, it's vulnerable and then ability. So it's actually the ability to be vulnerable. It's the ability to be wounded. So when you see it as an ability, you can improve, you can develop, and that's where you grow. And every challenges and problems, you might feel like you're not good enough or you feel bad and you feel vulnerable, but that's actually a good start because you grow from there. You have to let yourself like become vulnerable and learn something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like blow my mind when I listen to like podcasts or something like that and they talk about vulnerable and then ability. Like, wow.
Wow. So cool.
Yeah.
I like that word too.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about a Thai word?
For Thai word, there's I would say no specific words, but I like the idea of คำสอน and มายามก
ไม้ยมกเหรอค
I
รับ
like มายามก
Okay.
That is weird, right?
ดีมากอะไรอย่างงี้เหรอ
Yeah. I like คำสอน and มายามก because there's no close equivalent in English. If you look at it, how can you translate let's say บ้านเรือน and บ้านช่องบ้านเรือนสวยงามand then บ้านช่องไม่กลับit's different right
เหมือนเป็นคำสร้อยเนาะประมาณนั้น
yeah it's like two close meaning words like put together but it convey another meaning or even the word like เปราะบางยังเปราะแล้วยังบางอีกอะ like oh my gosh or like หนักแน่น is so หนัก and so แน่น but in English you just say firm steady yeah there are no concepts of คำซ้อน in English so I think this is like Thai wisdom like so cool
amazing and nerdy to a lot of people but I still see it as amazing it is so much fun to know the language into that like part or aspect like oh this is fun
and you know actually language it's invented by humans right it reflects our wisdom and the beauty and if you kind of like can see it in some angles I think it makes you appreciate life even more for me I feel like that I feel like wow this is so cool like how can you think of this word or this is so meaningful and everything becomes like fascinating I'm such a nerdy
it was fun this is your place this is your place to be
it's comedy
of course and since our show is called comedy and you're a person with many words of course because as an interpreter you work with words basically so I want to know what word or words is or are not in your vocabulary
I thought about that like I said before like language it's powerful and I feel like it's not right or wrong but how we use it so the word that I really don't like the way it's being used is the word wannabe yeah like you're such a wannabe you sign up for this course you sign up for this content you speak English in this accent you're such a wannabe so my question is like what's wrong with being a wannabe I want to be something good when it comes to self-development like right a wannabe I think we should be proud to say that I'm a wannabe and one day I will be what I want to be something like that
wow I never thought of it that way before
really?
but that's true true this word has been turned into like a bad guy
like a bad guy very like carries negative connotation right like
true.
it should be to be fair if you have the word wannabe you should have the word don't wanna be like you're such a don't wanna be nice like ew you're a don't wanna be
that's so cool and I had a lot of fun talking to you today and thank you so much for coming to our show
thank you so much for having me
ขอบคุณครับ
thank you ขอบคุณค่ะ
งงใช่ไหมครับว่าพวกเรา2คนคือใครแล้วมาทำอะไรที่รายการของพวกคุณเนี่ย
พวกเรา2คนคือพิธีกรจากรายการ Seven Things We Love About แฟชั่นพอดแคสต์แรกของ The Standard Pop ค่ะที่จะมาชวนทุกคนท่องโลกแฟชั่นไปด้วยกัน
เพราะแฟชั่นมีมากกว่าแค่เรื่องเสื้อผ้าหรือเรื่อง The Devil Wears Prada นะคะ
พบกับหลากหลายเรื่องราวของแฟชั่นนะคะไม่ว่าจะเป็นเทรนด์แบรนด์ดีไซเนอร์ Pop Culture หรือแม้กระทั่งแขก Exclusive ที่จะมาลงลึกเรื่องราวของแฟชั่นแบบที่ไม่เคยบอกใครมาก่อน
ทุกวันจันทร์เวลา 19:00 นตรงทุกช่องทาง Streaming Podcast และ YouTube ของ The Standard Pop พวกเรา2คนขอรบกวนเวลาเพียงเท่านี้แล้วเจอกันค่ะ
บ๊ายบาย